Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 kill team video, where today I'm going over the new rules for the Angels of Death kill team provided for me by Games Workshop. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. Did you like it? What do you think of the new Angels of Death? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, today I'm going over the Angels of Death kill team, and once again, I'm going to have on the screen some, kind of abridged my own images just for this one as well. But all the audio will be correct because I'm reading off rules I can't show you yet. So I'll go through the full rules, but let's get on with the review. So starting off with the roster, the team is still Security and Seek and Destroy. That has been unchanged. But now, as you've already been aware, if you watched like Warhammer Community, the kill team is Intercession Squad renamed, combined with Strike Force Justinian, although all the Strike Force Justinian has now just been renamed to generic operatives. So for your leader, you're still a kill team of 6 operatives. You get one leader, which can either be an Assault Intercessor Sergeant with either a Hand Flamer or Heavy Bolt Pistol, and then either a Chainsword, Power Fist, Power Weapon, or Thunderhammer. Or you can give them a Plasma Pistol and Chainsword, so still the same options there. The Intercessor Sergeant can have an Auto Bolt Rifle, a Bolt Rifle, or a Stalker Bolt Rifle, and then can either have Chainsword, Fists, Power Fist, Power Weapon, or Thunderhammer. And then you can also take a Space Marine Captain. So you've got a new leader option there. Then you've got 5 Angels of Death operatives. So you've got an Assault Intercessor Grenadier, an Assault Intercessor Warrior, an Eliminator Sniper, a Heavy Intercessor Gunner, an Intercessor Gunner that can either have an Auto Bolt Rifle, or Stalker Bolt Rifle, and then an Intercessor Warrior that can have an Auto Bolt Rifle, or Stalker Bolt Rifle. The only restriction with this is you can't have an Eliminator Sniper and the Heavy Intercessor Gunner on the same kill team. So it's a bit of a nerf there. You have to run one or the other. Like, you can't run the Sniper and Heavy Bolter together effectively. So that's the only real limitation. So if you were playing Strike Force Justinian before, it's a little bit of a nerf. If you're playing Intercession before, you can now take something that isn't just normal Intercessors. So great win there. For the faction rules, we have Chapter Tactics, which have been tweaked slightly. When selecting your kill team, select a primary and secondary chapter tactic for friendly operatives to gain for the battle. Multiple instances of the same chapter tactic are not cumulative. So you've got one which is aggressive. The operative's melee weapons have the rending weapon rule, which is unchanged. Dueler, so once per sequence, whenever this operative is fighting or retaliating, one of your normal successes can block one unresolved critical success, unless the enemy operative's weapons have brutal. And one of your critical successes can block 2 unresolved normal successes instead of 1 critical success. So a little bit buff there with now your normal success can block a crit. So Dueler's still pretty good. Then you've got Resolute, so you can ignore any changes to this operative's APL stat. You've got Stealthy. Whenever an operative is shooting this operative, you can retain any cover. If you can retain any cover saves, you can retain 1 additional cover save, or you can retain 1 cover save as a critical success. But this isn't stackable with Vantage, so that's still really good. Then you've got Mobile. This operative can perform the fallback action for 1 less AP, and this operative can perform the charge action while within control range of enemy operatives, and can leave the operative's control range to do so, but normal requirements of that move apply. So it has to end if you were like charging out, you have to end in control range, but if you're just a reposition, you have to end outside of control range. Then you've got Hardy. Whenever an operative is shooting this operative, defense dice results of a 5-up or critical success, also unchanged. And then you've got Sharpshooter. Whenever this operative is shooting during an activation in which it hasn't performed the charge, fallback, or reposition action, its bolt weapons have the severe weapon rule, which is very nice. So it allows you to, automatically generate a crit if you didn't roll any crits, which is, well, change the normal into a crit, which is very, very good. Then you've got Siege Specialist. This operative's ranged weapons have the saturate weapon rule. So you kind of have to know which one is your primary and your secondary. But generally, I'm a big fan of Resolute and Mobile, because Resolute just means you're ignored to be like stun grenades and like APL minor stats are useless against you, and Mobile just means you can't be pinned. I do like Sharpshooter and Siege Specialists if you're going for just a fixed shooting loadout. You're just going to gun. But I really like the flexibility of Mobile and how useful Resolute is. The other thing here with Chapter Tactics, if you're playing a tournament, they last the entire tournament, so you can't pick 2 different chapter tactics every game. So you have to lock in to which 2 chapter tactics you want for the entire tournament. And then other than that, they have the Astartes special rule. So during each friendly operatives activation, it can perform either 2 shoot actions or 2 fight actions. If it's 2 shoot actions, a bolt weapon must be selected for one of them. And if it's a bolt sniper or heavy bolter, 1 additional action point can be spent for the second action if both actions are using that weapon, and you can counteract regardless of your orders. You can counteract on conceal. So the main thing here is if you have the bolt sniper or the heavy bolter, you can double fire for 3 AP. So the first shot is 1 action point, and then the second shot is 2 action points. Notably, other Astartes can't do this, so this is a very Angels of Death unique thing, which is very good for the kill team as a whole. For strategy ploys, you have combat doctrine. Select 1 combat doctrine from those presented below. Whenever a friendly operative is X, its weapons have the balanced weapon roll. X is the combat doctrine you selected. So if you take Devastator, if you're shooting an operative more than 6 inches from it, you get balanced. Tactical doctrine gives you balanced if you're shooting within 6 inches of an enemy operative. And assault doctrine now has been changed. Every time you're fighting or retaliating, you just gain balance, because before it only worked on the charge. So it's way more useful now. Really, really good. Then you've got And They Shall Know No Fear. You can ignore any changes to the stats of friendly operatives from being injured, including their weapon stats. So this has been nerfed, because before it used to ignore APL stat changes as well. Now if you want that, you have to take that as a dedicated chapter tactic. But I think it's worth taking, especially with how popular stuns are at the moment. Then you've got adaptive tactics. Change your secondary chapter tactic. Note this ploy only lasts until the end of the turning point, at which your original secondary chapter tactic returns. So that's why, it doesn't really matter, but try and remember, you can only swap 1 around. So that's why I like taking the APL stat, but you could pick mobile as your primary, then ignoring APL as your secondary stat, because then you can just change it around with adaptive tactics. But adaptive tactics is very good. Then you've got Indomitus. Whenever an operative is shooting a friendly operative, if you roll 2 or more fails, you can discard one of them to retain another as a normal success instead. This is amazing, right? Because now even if you have like a junk roll, let's say you roll 3 fails, you can spend a CP to roll 1, and then you can use Indomitus to ensure you get another. Being able to ensure you get a result no matter what is very powerful and very, very good, especially on a kill team with 14 wounds and 4-up save minimum. So I really like Indomitus, really powerful when you're pushing up. For firefight ploys, you have Adjust Doctrine. Use this firefight ploy during a friendly operative's activation before or after it performs an action. If you've used the Combat Doctrine strategic ploy during this turning point, change the Combat Doctrine you selected. And note, if you do change it, it will last for the turning point. So what you could do, if you've taken a mix of like shooting and assault, you can go, okay, I'm going to do tactical doctrine because I'm moving up. Now I'm going to start activating my assault intercessors. So I'm going to spend a CP to now switch to assault doctrine because I'm going to be doing charging. So very, very good there. Makes your team more flexible despite its limited roster selection. Then you've got Transhuman Physiology. Use this firefight ploy when an operative is shooting a friendly Angel of Death operative. In the roll defense die step, you can retain one of your normal successes as a crit success instead. This is unchanged, still okay. Then you've got Shock Assault. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly operative is performing the fight action during an activation in which you perform the charge action. At the start of the roll attack die step until the end of that action, its melee weapons have the shock special rule, and the first time you strike during that sequence, inflict 1 additional damage to a maximum of 7. This is okay. I believe this used to be fight at the end of the firefight phase, so this has been nerfed quite a bit. It's good if you want to push through 1 more pit of damage, or you want to parry more. But I don't really like Shock Assault. It's situational, but you're probably not going to use it. Then you've got Wrath of Vengeance. Use this firefight ploy when a friendly operative is counteracting. It can perform an additional 1 action point action for free during that counteraction, but both actions must be different. So this is really powerful because it's 1 CP and you get to do 2 different counteraction. Well, you get to effectively do 2 actions when you counteract. So if you're on engage, you could spend 1 action point to move 2 inches and then shoot, or like if you're on conceal, you could like move up and cap a point. There's lots of things you can do, and being able to do 2 action points when you counteract is incredibly powerful, especially when you see it in practice. Very, very, very good, because you could even fight then shoot if someone has tried to tie you up. Amazing. So for operatives, you have the Space Marine Captain who has a 3 APL, a 6-inch move, a 3-up save, and 15 wounds. So 1 more wound than normal because all of our operatives have 14 wounds because he's your leader. He has a plasma pistol, which is standard or supercharged. So if it's standard, it's 4 attacks, hit on freeze, 3-5, range 8, piercing 1. Supercharged is 4 attacks, hit on freeze, 4-5, range 8, hot, lethal 5 up, piercing 1. Then it's got a power fist, 5 attacks, hit on freeze, 5-7, brutal. You will note he is the only power fist in the game to hit on freeze. There's another operative that hits on freeze with their Viscerator. They're not a Space Marine, which is really funny when we get to that faction. You have Heroic Leader, so once per turning point, you can use a Firefight Ploy for 0 CP if this is a specified operative, excluding Command Reroll, or the Adjust Doctrine Firefight Ploy for 0 CP if this operative is in the kill zone and not within control range of enemy operatives. So your leader is actually really flexible, allows you, because he's a captain, to basically change your doctrine for free, which is really useful if you're running a mixed team. And then also you can use specific firefight ploys if they target itself, which is nice. Then you've got the Iron Halo, so once per battle, when an attack dice inflicts normal damage on it, you can ignore that inflicted damage. This is a bit of a nerf. Before you used to have a 4-up invulnerable save, so now you just have a weakened tanking effect. But you still have 15 wounds with a 3-up save, so it will get you some mileage unless your opponent just rolls hot crits all the time, like myself. But overall, the Space Marine Captain is quite useful because of, it allows you to be more flexible with adjusting your doctrine for free every turning point. Then you've got the Assault Intercessor Sergeant, who has the same stats. It can either have a Hand Flamer, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 2s, 3-3, range 6, saturate, torrent 1. The Heavy Bolt Pistol, which is 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 3-4, range 8, piercing crits 1. The Plasma Pistol, which is exactly the same as the Captain, with standard and supercharged options. A Chainsword, which is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-5. A Power Fist, which is 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 5-7, brutal. The Power Weapon, which is 5 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4-6, lethal 5-up. And then the Thunder Hammer, which is 5 attacks, hitting on 4s, 5-6, shock stun. So from those weapons there, you probably will like to take the Bolt Pistol and the Power Sword. Power Weapon most of the time. Plasma Pistol and Chainsword is okay, but only probably if you're finding 8 wound opponents. And then the Thunder Hammer and Power Fist, because they hit on 4s, I really don't like them. I would much more recommend taking the Captain if you wanted to take a Power Fist. Then you've got Doctrine Warfare. Whenever you would use the Combat Doctrine Strategic Ploy and then select Assault or Tactical, if this operative is in the kill zone, it costs you 0 CP. So very, very useful there. And then you've got Chapter Veteran. At the end of the select operative step, if this operative is selected for deployment, select 1 additional chapter tactic for this model to have for the battle. Unlike primary and secondary chapter tactics, you don't have to select the same one for each battle in a campaign or a tournament. So if you take, because sergeants last a long time, they're very experienced, they can have a 3rd chapter tactic that has to be different. So, if you've taken ignoring APL stats and then you've also taken, charging out of engagement range and falling back for 1, you could take Jeweler on your Assault Intercessor Sergeant and they'll be very deadly, especially with a Power Sword. But that sort of flexibility is really good, especially as if you're just planning to be in your opponent's face, you get Tactical and Assault Doctrine for 0 CP, which is really, really useful. So a nice incentive to take one of your sergeants. Then you've got your Intercessor Sergeant. There probably is an error there with Doctrine Warfare. It has the same stats as all leaders, so 3 APL, 6-inch move, 3-up save, 15 wounds. It can take the Auto Bow Rifle, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4, torrent 1. So it's lost Ceaseless 1. I think everyone kind of expected it to, because Ceaseless 1 Ceaseless would be too powerful. So it's torrent 1. You've got the Bow Rifle, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4, piercing crits 1, which is unchanged. Then you've got the Stalker Bolt Rifle, which has a heavy and mobile option. The mobile option is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4, but the heavy mobile profile is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-5, heavy dash only, lethal 5-up, piercing crits 1. So it now does more damage and gets lethal 5-up. So quite useful there. Then you've got the Chainsword, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-5, Fist, which are 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 3-4, Power Fist, which is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 5-7, brutal. The Power Weapon, which is 4 attacks hitting on 3s, 4-6, lethal 5-up. And then the Thunder Hammer, which is 4 attacks hitting on 4s, 5-6, shock stun. So generally with your Intercessor Sergeant, you're probably usually taking the Bolt Rifle, but actually I'm really a fan of the Stalker Bolt Rifle now, because especially if you're running an Intercessor Sergeant, they're quite durable. Even in general, just being able to go like, I've got 4 attacks in on 3s, 3-5, lethal 5-up, piercing crits 1. So that's actually pretty useful. So I actually am growing more with the Stalker Bolt Rifle with the Power Weapon, but Bolt Rifle and Power Weapon are still very useful. And the bolt rifle, the auto bolt rifle, can be situationally good into hordes. Then you've got Doctrine Warfare, which has changed for this operative. Whenever you would use the Combat Doctrine Strategic Ploy and select Devastator or Tactical, if this operative is in the kill zone, it costs you 0 CP. So your Assault Intercessor Sergeant gives you Tactical and Assault, whereas your Intercessor Sergeant gives you Devastator or Tactical. So depending on if you want to go shooty, obviously take the Intercessor Sergeant, and if you want to go melee, you take the Assault Intercessor Sergeant. Then it also has the Chapter Veteran role, which stacks as well. So what you can do with your Assault Intercessor Sergeant is, as I said, if you've gone with the static Chapter Tactics, give it the beneficial ones for shooting, such as Severe or even Saturate on its guns, which makes it even better at clearing out hordes and other kind of operatives. So really, really useful. When it comes to leaders, I do think you get more out of the Intercessor Sergeants than you do the leader, but the Captain is very good into like specific melee teams just because it's a free attack power fist. Well, power fist that hits on threes with 5 attacks. So I think you're going to see more mileage out of the sergeants, but it depends if you just really like the captain. Then you've got the Assault Intercessor Grenadier, who has the standard profile for all your kill team. 3 APL, 6-inch move, 3 up save, 14 wounds. He has a heavy bolt pistol, which is 4 attacks, 8 on threes, 3-4, range 8, piercing crits 1. And then the chainsword, which is 5 attacks, 8 on threes, 4-5. He has the Grenadier rule, so this operative can use frag and crack grenades. Doing so doesn't count towards any limits you have. If you also select those grenades from other equipment, and whenever you do so when you're shooting with these weapons, you get +1 to hit. So it's crack and frags, hit on threes, and it has an unlimited supply. And you always take the Assault Grenadier because it's 3 grenades, 3 equipment points, but it also comes with a bolt pistol and chainsword. Then you've got your Assault Intercessor Warriors, who are the same stats. They have a heavy bolt pistol and a chainsword. They have no other unique rules, so it's kind of a bit of a shame they didn't get any additional rules like other warriors. They're just exactly the same, but they're still pretty useful because, as I said, if you're into melee opponents or you want to be in melee, usually taking 2 to 3 of these. Then you've got the Eliminator Sniper, who has a Phobos profile. So it's got 3 APL, a 7-inch move, a 3 up save, but 12 wounds. It has a bolt pistol, and then it also has the bolt sniper rifle, which has 3 different profiles. It has fists, which are 4 attacks in on 3s, 3-4. But the bolt sniper rifle, the executioner mode is 4 attacks in on 2s, 3-4, heavy dash, saturate, seek light, and silent. So this profile is always silent, and you get to dash when you shoot, and it has seek light, and it ignores cover. Very, very good, especially on Vocus, if you can get to the top vantage point, or if your opponent does, you can just shoot them for free. Then you've got the Bolt Sniper Rifle Hyperfrag, 4 attacks in on 2s, 2-4, blast 1, heavy dash only, silent, this is unchanged. Then you've got the Bolt Sniper Rifle Mortis, 4 attacks in on 2s, 3-3, devastating 3, heavy dash only, piercing 1, silent, and that has been unchanged as well. Although now it is effectively AP1, which is very, very good. You've got the Camo Cloak ability, so whenever an operative is shooting this operative, ignore the Saturate weapon rule. This operative has the Stealthy Chapter Tactic, and then if you selected the Stealthy Chapter Tactic, you can do both of its options, i.e. retain 2 cover saves, 1 as a normal or as 1 as a crit, or 2 as crits. So the Eliminator is really, really stealthy. And then it's got the Optics action. Until the start of this operative's next activation, whenever it's shooting, enemy operatives cannot be obscured, and you can't do this while in control range of enemy operatives. So the Eliminator Sniper, especially on Vocus, is amazing. And I think most of the time you're taking the Eliminator Sniper, mainly because it has the Seek Light weapon rule. Having the Seek Light weapon rule is very powerful, and especially when you're out-activated, because you can counteract on Conceal as a Space Marine, this guy can shoot, give itself ignore obscuring, and then shoot, and then when you counteract, it can shoot again. So very, very useful. I really like the Eliminator Sniper. You can also, if it's on engage, shoot twice, right? And then when you counteract, well, actually you can shoot twice, then you can spend a CP to counteract for 2 actions and give yourself optics and shoot again. So you could get a 3rd shot with the Eliminator Sniper with the first 2 not ignoring and obscuring. So I really like the sniper. It's very, very good. Then you've got the Heavy Intercessor Gunner, the Chonky Boy. He has 3 APL, a 4-inch move, a 3 up save, and 18 wounds. Its Heavy Bolt has a Focus profile, which is 5 attacks in on 3s, 4-5, piercing crits 1. And the Sweeping profile, which is 4 attacks in on 3s, 4-5, piercing crits 1, torrent 1. And then Fists, which are 4 attacks in on 3s, 3-4. He does have no unique special rules, but his Heavy Bolter doesn't have heavy. So this operative can reposition and dash 7 inches and then Heavy Bolter someone in the face. The funniest thing is, like, if you give this heavy intercessor a portable barricade, has a 2-up armor save just walking around with 18 wounds. It's very, very tanky. And like, even if you invest in smoke grenades and that's 2 equipment points. But then this heavy intercessor doesn't die from shooting. Very good into certain like specific shooting matchups. Really good in stuff like open boards, because you can just bully people with this. You do only move 2 inches if you use the shield wall stuff. But if you've deployed the portable barricade further up, you can just have this operative standing on a point, just shooting with a 2-up save. And obviously you can stand still once you're in position, double firing that heavy bolter. I do think you get more use out of the sniper, but the heavy intercessor gunner is very useful. Then you've got the gunner, who goes back to the normal profile. He can take an auto bolt rifle, or stalker bolt rifle, which I've already covered, and fists. Then it also has the auxiliary grenade launcher, frag and crack. If it's frag, it's 4 attacks, 8 on freeze, 2-4, blast 2. And if you take the crack, it's 4 attacks, 8 on freeze, 4-5, piercing 1. So unchanged there, and you still always take it, because the intercessor gunner gives you another source of 4-5 piercing 1 damage. So usually, I actually now really like, as I said, the intercessor gunner with the auxiliary grenade launcher and the stalker bolt rifle. Because if you want to be mobile, you just use the normal mobile profile. But if you want to stand still and shoot, you get a lot of usage out of that stalker bolt rifle. Then you've got your normal intercessor warrior, who has all the same profiles. So it can take 3 different bolt rifles, and it's got fists, which are 4 attacks, 8 on freeze, 3-4. No unique rules here, which again is a bit disappointing. I would have liked something here, but otherwise they're dependable. And because you've got 3 different really good weapons to select from, that kind of makes up for it. But generally, you're probably not always taking many of these, maybe 1 or 2, but you can always run more if you want to go run and gun. Then for faction equipment, you've got purity seals. Once per turning point, when a friendly operative is shooting, fighting, or retaliating, if you roll 2 or more fails, you can discard one of them and retain another as a normal success instead. This is really good. I really, really like this. It's what makes me think this kill team is really good. For example, when I was playing Galapox Infected, the fact you can just ensure dice, going, I'm always going to get at least 1 hit, is very, very powerful, and this works well in close combat. So this is amazingly good. It is once per turning point, but it's way better than a reroll in my opinion. Then you've got chapter reliquaries. You can use the Wrath of Vengeance Firefight ploy for 0 CP if the specified operative has an engage order. So you're always taking this, because if you play really ballsy like a proper Space Marine and are on engage, you can do 2 action points when you counteract for free once per turning point. Very, very good. Then you've got tilting shields. So once per turning point, when a friendly operative is fighting or retaliating, after your opponent rolls their attack dice, you can use this rule. If you do so, their opponent cannot retain attack dice results of less than 6 as a critical success during that sequence, e.g. as a result of the lethal rule, rending, or severe. So this is really, really powerful in specific matchups where your opponent has a lot of lethal 5-up or rending, and because you get to see it after the dice, it's really, really good. It goes on every enemy operative. You can only use it once per turning point, but you can go like, well, you're going to have to charge me. And if you roll really, really well, I'm not going to turn on my tilting shield. But if you do roll really, really well and you can only fight once, I'm going to turn on my tilting shield and you're going to die. So really, really useful. Then you have the Auspex. So once per turning point, when a friendly operative is performing the shoot action and you're selecting a valid target, you can use this rule. If you do so, until the end of the activation, counteraction, enemy operatives within 8 inches of that friendly operative cannot be obscured. So this is now a free action when you shoot, but range has been reduced to 8 inches. It's okay, but I think if you're within 8 inches, it's not that good. Like, it's still situational, but I would probably take, you know, what do you call it, utility grenades instead. But definitely always take purity seals, chapter reliquaries, and tilting shields. Although if you enter a shooting opponent, you don't really need tilting shields, but it's really good into other elites. So for operative selection, once again, you only have 6 operatives. Well, 6 operatives you can select, but in a very flexible way. So as I said, the Space Marine Captain is good if you're into specific melee teams and other elites, because it is a power fist that hits on freeze with 5 attacks. But I really like the Sergeants because they're more flexible. They themselves get an additional chapter tactic, and they give you more useful free free strategic ploys, whereas your Captain is more if you're about planning to go taking a mixed team. So if you're going mixed all the time, like shooting and melee, you probably take the Captain. But if you're going heavily into assault or shooting, you take the Sergeants. But even then, I don't mind going like heavily shooting and then taking like the Assault Intercessor Sergeant, because I'm going to like have that as my main melee piece. The fact they can take a 3rd chapter tactic every game is very, very good. So I would probably go like, if I was in to like hordes, shooty hordes, I would take the Sergeant, with a heavy bolt rifle, stalker bolt rifle, because it's just so good, and give it saturate. Whereas the assault intercessor and sergeant, I'd probably take into melee, like specifically melee teams, and give it jeweler, so then it can just double parry, because you don't really need rending or anything else. Then for your other operatives, once again, it depends on the opponent. If you're actually into 7 wound hordes, depending on the type, I still prefer like intercessor gunner, intercessor warrior, and then probably the eliminator sniper. And then for the intercessor gunners and warriors, probably giving them heavy stalker bolt rifles. Although you could also do auto bolt rifles with their turn 1, but I just really like how the stalker bolt rifle can be movable, mobile if you want, but will just murder hordes. And then if you're in like a dense environment, like Into the Dark, or even, you know, like certain Volcus maps, you could take more intercessor warriors, assault intercessor warriors, but you always take the assault intercessor grenadier. So the only operatives I would always take are the assault intercessor grenadier and the intercessor gunner. So that's 3 other operatives you can flex around with. I would always take the eliminator sniper. The heavy intercessor gunner is situationally good, especially on more open maps where you can just bully being 18 wounds with that free up save, especially where you can just move and reposition and dash 7 inches into someone's face and then shoot a heavy bolter into them. It's very, very threatening. And then, yeah, so you're either taking their sniper or the heavy intercessor to gives you 2 more operatives to take, and usually it's either 2 intercessor warriors or 2 assault intercessor warriors. But the cool thing about Angels of Death, they're really flexible. They are now more difficult to collect because unless Games Workshop release a box of 5 intercessors and 5 assault intercessors and Strike Force Justian, you need the Strike Force Justian box. Then you also need to buy a box of heavy intercessors, assault intercessors, and then a box of normal intercessors. So when it comes to collecting the kill team, I recommend eBaying, because you're usually able to find 5 assault intercessors and 5 normal intercessors because they're quite popular. And then you would just have to find Strike Force Justian models, which I'm sure Games Workshop will make available to buy very soon, because Angels of Death is going to be a popular faction. So for the Angels of Death overview, I actually really like this team. They're very, very powerful. I actually rate them very, very highly. I've played them a lot, into them or as them and against. They're very tough because they're all 14 wounds. They all counteract no matter their order. And if they're on engage, one of them can do 2 counteractions. The fact this team is way more reliable than they used to be. Remember, they're always getting rerolls wherever they fight or shoot, as long as you pick the right range. And with Purity Seals and Indominus, they are effectively incredibly tanky, because you will always be getting 1 hit when you fight or shoot, and then you're always getting a minimum of 1 save when you're shot at all the time. And, you know, you have lost rapid and durable. That kind of sucks. You know, you don't get +1 move, you don't get +1 wound, you don't get -1 damage to crit damage. But this kill team doesn't need it. It makes up for other ways by just being so durable with the overall reduced lethality of the game. This kill team is just so reliable and flexible. The problem when you're into them, you know, if you're on Volcus, you have to watch out for Angels of Death taking the Eliminator Sniper, because then you go, okay, you know, I actually have to stop them taking the high vantage point, but then I can't really use it depending on the facing, because their sniper has Seek Light, which is very powerful and can ignore obscuring, so they're just going to shoot anyone up on my sniper nest. Then you've got, like, I really like new Stalker Bolt rifles. The fact that they're 3-5, lethal 5-up, piercing 1 crits. They are heavy mobile, but then you've got a normal mobile option, which is 3-4. So, you know, if you've been peppering away your opponent and then they decide to get too close, you can just switch to Tactical Doctrine and just walk up into their face and fire a normal 3-4 bolt gun. That's really, really good. Obviously, auto bolt rifles are a bit worse because they've lost Ceaseless and got Torrent 1, but you make up for that in other ways. I would have liked some special rules for the Assault Intercessor Warrior and the Intercessor Warrior, especially the Assault Intercessor Warrior. But your Grenadier is still really useful, now has unlimited grenades. And then, like, the Heavy Intercessor still has some use, but you can't take that with the Sniper. The Captain is okay, but I really like how the Sergeants work. But the cool thing is just this is a really flexible team, but a really good beginner team. It's got a good baseline. If you're a beginner player, you're going to have a lot of fun. But if you are a competitive player or learning this kill team more, they actually have a really high skill ceiling and become very flexible and rewarding to play, because especially if your opponent can't quickly take you down or you quickly take out their weapons that can hurt you, you will start blowing people up, even against other elites. And just with this, all these rerolls and ensuring saves or hits, this kill team is very, very good. So I expect to see it everywhere, more so than it was before. And they are just really fun to play. You generally do feel like you're playing Space Marine 2 with these Space Marines, which is really fun. Like, that is probably the best thing they've succeeded at. It's just cool. I'm really glad this team has also been relaunched. So this will count as a 3rd edition first season 1 team. So, you know, you won't have to worry about rotation. Well, you won't have to worry about classification, yesification. You don't have to worry about any of that. So you've got this kill team. You've got another 6 years of it, which is really, really good. And the fact it's combined with Strike Force Justian gives Intercession Squad and Angels of Death as a whole the flexibility it really needed to be really fun. But that's pretty much it for me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's review. Do you like the Angels of Death kill team? Let me know. How much are you hyped for them? And I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games and Crossfire Games, and then a Patreon if you want to give me some more support, and I'll quickly shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crew, I have Tom, Super Cow, Stephen, Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwad, Lucas, John Thomas, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meets World, Darcy, Dad of Goldens, Chris, and then for my veterans of the crit, I have Samja and Ryan, who has a Rule Zero tournament on the 2nd of November. But that's pretty much it. I am very hyped for Angels of Death. I am in the process of finishing painting my Angels of Death kill team with my Black Templars. They're very, very cool as a beginner team and an experienced team. And like, the interesting thing, they're fun to play just because they're in your face, like just being Marines. They're really, really good. But I'm interested to see what people come up with and how they feel about the kill team. I think they're really, really good. But remember, no matter what happens when you're facing against the Angels of Death, there's always a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit.